Hello everyone. Let's learn together some basics of DOM manipulation in JavaScript. I have created some HTML structure here, and you can see I have created some button handlers. Here button with class button, and then on clicking we'll be using document info function, which is currently empty, or I mean we haven't defined it yet. Let's create the function document info. We have to choose script tag to write JavaScript function. Let's create it. Now I have created here an empty div with ID result. So let's try to access it. I think you all are familiar with how to access it, how to access an element using ID. There is something called document.getElementById. I'm so much good at writing. So what it basically does is it is like saying browser that find the element with ID result and then store it in result as a reference, this result and variable result. Find the element with ID result, this result, and store it in result, const result, and as a reference so I can manipulate it later or update it later, whatever. So example, we'll be using it, how you can manipulate it. So we'll be using inner HTML. What it does is it overrides the HTML structure of that element. It's currently a div with I result, so it will be overriding it, the HTML structure. So let's do something. Let's, yeah, let's, without a class. Let's not do this. Let's, yeah, this is okay. And let's create title because it is literally string. You can do it. Document the title and URL will be okay. And let's try to get ready state maybe. Yeah, okay, ready state. The last, oh yeah, it will be okay. Let's click here. So what we got is title, DOM basic learning, URL. It is my file structure currently. Ready state complete. Last modified with some time that we modified our file. Now let's understand what it did. We what I did it we use literal variable here. Document the title. What exactly it is document? Let's go in console to understand. I mean, yeah, it looks like a structure here, right? But let's also check. It's look like a HTML structure, but let's check type of document. No, yeah, my bad. It is an object, but what we saw here, I don't think it is object. It looks like object. It is a structure or HTML structure. but type of document shows object. So it's like a default state of browser to show it is in a structure, but HTML structure, but it is an object. We can view it using, yeah, it is an object. You can see URL, active element, and a lot of properties here. You can see. So what we did here is we said that, so we understood already that document is an object. So we are accessing the property title of document. You can see here. What is title? Look, title is DOM based learning. And what, where did it get this data from? This is in our structure. You can see title. I have written is as DOM basic learning. So what actually is a document? Document is, you can understand it as like an, it's an property. I mean, not property, but the HTML is like an house, but the JavaScript object, it's like an object. Document is an JavaScript object, but I mean that represent your entire HTML structure or your house. Yeah, it wasn't good. I know that explanation was not good. So what I'm trying to say is, document stores everything about your HTML. Is an object. Just like you can see what we have. We have character set here, title here, and child body here, div here, and many things. Button here. Everything is stored in div. Everything. I mean everything. So you can access it. Let's do this again. Document. What I wanted you guys to show is what inner HTML actually did to our code. We used inner HTML, but what it actually did is it it changes the HTML structure. You can see here we accessed D with ID result, and here is it. Our code, our HTML. It is here, so we are seeing it here. Now we use the strong tag, so we use strong tag for document info or what? I think for document info, that is why it is there. Yeah, for document info. So we used strong tag for document info, so we're seeing it as in bold here. You can also see here strong tag. So yeah, I wanted you to show that what it actually did. So let's move on to another function. I have another function. I create another handler. Where is it? So body info. Let's create a function so body info. Now I have created another empty div just like before. I forgot the name. What was it? Document info with an ID document info. I hope you saw that. Yeah, document info. And then what we are trying to learn here is about a body. So we already know that document is an object with different properties. So one of the properties is body. So let's Look into it. Here is body. You can see it has different other properties. What we are focusing here is children and class list. What children consist? Sorry, not class list. I mean child nodes. What child node consists? It consists every nodes from comment to text node to everything. But children consist only tags. As one tag, div, container. It contains only tags, but it contains everything, every nodes here. So yeah, it both has both practical uses, but children is mainly what it is used. S- Now let's do this. So let's access that with documented body and then use same logic for the inner HTML. Use it. Just use it, man. Yeah. Now the class, the children behaves like array, but it is an HTML collection, but it behaves like an array. It is like an live array, but it isn't actual array because it doesn't use, it cannot access the functions like that map, that filter. So we'll be converting it first to an array. Let's do this. So what we'll do is we'll use array dot from function. What it does is it converts into array. Then use body dot children because we are converting it into array. Then just only get some, let's say 3 or 4 only. Then just you can use slice. Yeah, it's just 0, not 5. Yeah, let's leave it 5. Now let's see what we'll be seeing here. So body is not defined at HTML button. Oh yeah, good. So yeah, we got 5 of the child with the index plus 1. We did here index plus 1. So first index 0, then it adds up to third plus 1 is 1, child 1, and it's one tag doesn't add class, so we add a fallback with no class here. If you found class name, then use child.class name. If there's none, then use a fallback no class. This is our logic here. So we get here no class for s1 because it doesn't have any class. Tag name are s1 div. This is tag, these are the tag name we got here. So yeah, so the main important thing we need to learn from here is that children and child node, what they actually contain. Children contains all the tags, but child node contains every node. Text node, for example, if let's let me write something here. Okay, if it was something p tag with hello world, yeah, and let's comment here for request, so it will be easier to understand. Then write comment, and this is a comment here. So children will consist of p tag, because it is an actual tag. It is a tag, but child node will consist of p tag and text node. This is a text node. You know that hello world is a text node, and then a comment too. And inside the comment there is a text node again, and a text node again. This is what child node will contain, and children will contain a tag only p. So yeah, I want to divide so that. So let's move on to another function. So let's try to create another function and understand something new today. As I said, we are going through basic part, so this part will also be basic one. So for this function, let's first try to understand what we have created in our HTML. So this is the div we are looking right now. So I have created here three element: input, text area, and a div. Here it is a div, but different is in this div there is a content editable is equal to true, which makes it a content editable. That means it behaves like a text area in a sense. Not completely text area. It is much more better than text area, but it is it all handle a text. You know what I'm trying to say, right? So input field. This is how you create input field. A single tag, a close. There's nothing. There's no unique single and closing tag here. It was only one tag. You have to show the type and then yeah, ID and then value. Value is something that is shown at first. That value means. So we'll understand it. What value is later. Let's leave it right now. And placeholder. Placeholder is something we see when there is nothing in that input field. Then text area. Text area has almost same logic as input field, but only difference is that text area can handle multi-line, but input field has cannot handle multi-line. It doesn't respect multi-line. Content editable, it does respect multi-line. So let's try to understand this here, okay? No, so let's see here. This is an input field. It isn't. So let's write this does not respect multi-line. So I am clicking enter and all, but yeah, it is just going in a single line, right? Here, this right, it does respect. So here, look, you can see it is respecting multi-line, and this doesn't. No, this does. Sorry. Yeah, look. So this is the one part I was trying to show to you. Now let's go little bit more complex. Not I mean complex. By complex, I mean not a big, not deep logic. But just a little bit more complex. How does it store and or and how can we access that? So let's create a function. So what was the handler called? Let's see that. So element info. So let's create a function. So element info. Yeah, something like this. We are doing the same logic. We are accessing it using their unique IDs for input field and text area and that content editable. Now, I'm trying to show to you. Let's remove these first, I guess. I will type manually now. Let's try to give it strong, not an input first. Input element, yeah, element input type. Good. Then value, very good. Placeholder, okay. Now let's move into text area. Yeah, we would. Yeah, let's leave that. Let's delete value. Yeah, let's put content table. Inner HTML, that is something we are looking for. Yeah, and also text content. just leave it. Right. So this is not past info. Equal to this is this. So let's what's the year? What is the year I'm seeing? Yeah, yes. Yeah. So let's see what we got here. In the code we have written input dot value, right? So when you write dot value, then we are getting the value here. It's like this. Just change it to this is value, and you should be getting in place of this an input. This is value. Yeah, that is beautiful. Now in the text area, we are also doing the same logic. We are using input dot value. You can see here the text area dot value. So you are seeing this is text area. So let's yeah. Now content area table is a little bit different than input and text area. As I already mentioned, one difference between text area and input field or content table and input field is the handling multi-line. Another difference is that it it can also handle a rich text. By rich text I mean something like different color. If I try to make it italic or maybe bold, then I can easily do it in continuity variable using this field, this property inner HTML. But for these two, we could not access the same logic, as we are doing, as we can do for continuity table. And the how can we access the real value is we can access is using text content. Let's try to do it in console, then you can understand it's more better, I guess. Yeah. So first we try to reference to our content table div. A simple div ID. You know, it is of content table. So we are getting the reference to content table. You should know that, right? We have already discussed the logic already. So now let's try to use this is a content editable div we got here, right? So let's do this, okay? Let's try to make it italic, right? This will be italic. Unexpected end of end. Oh, sorry. I'm really good at this. That is why I make so much mistake. Yeah, look, this will be italic. It changed not only the text changed, but the color was also changed, right? So this is such a beautiful logic. This is such a, this is how you can do in Facebook or LinkedIn or any social media. You can change colors and all. They all use content editable. So this is we call it a rich text here. This one we call it a rich text, and the editor which can handle us we call it rich text editor. And we will also maybe we will go into that logic later. It is really complex to handle in something like LinkedIn. LinkedIn uses quill editor that is really hard to handle such kind of editor, especially for multi-line and and all. It is really hard. So let's leave it. Since we are only discussing about a basic part, we will be only doing this. If we got time, then we can also talk a little bit about this logic later, or maybe we can create different video for a complex part. Now, so this is the difference. That value property is used by input element and text area to get, or either push or to get the value here, but a text content is something we can use for content readable depth instead of value or inner HTML like I already did. Also, there is something called text. I forgot the name. What is it called? Text input or inner text? Sorry, inner text. This is a little bit smart, smart logic. What slow? You can say slow logic than text content, but it is smart. It is something like what the user sees. If there is a line break, then it respects the line break and it shows what you can see. What a user can see. But text content doesn't do it. If there is line break, then it will show you a backslash n or something like that. But inner text respect it and it shows a visual way how the user will be seeing it in editor. So that is the difference. I hope you are understanding a basic of it. You don't have to understand this inner HTML, inner text yet, but try to understand yourself. And I will be providing you the code later on after all the function has been finished. So yeah, this will be all I guess for this part. So we covered about the very basic multi-line part, then value part, then how HTML is used in content table. Then also let's do this. I mean, let's do this for text area also in HTML. Let's see what will it behave for it. How will it behave for it? So I'm not trying text area. Here that here I'm able to make this italic. So let's see how will it behave. This is STA text. I don't know what happened to it. Text area. Text area. Simple text area, isn't it? It should be simple text area because it is getting it. Let's try to do it again, I guess. Yeah, finally. This is how it will behave. It doesn't respect the tag. It just sees it as a characters. Then it pushes it, but it doesn't understand that I means italic. But the content table, it understand it, so it is very much useful. So I think this much for this video. We'll be covering other function in another video. Maybe next week, if when I'm free, then I will be showing you the other parts, and we'll also be moving into complex ones. Like I said, accumulator. Then, yeah, hope you learned something. I also learned many things. So yeah, thank you for watching.